Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Yu-Gi-Oh video on the channel. Episode 64 of Go Rush just came out, and we got a lot of things answered. But before I jump in... Okay, so when last episode ended, Phaser just turned into a dragon. Udius seemed to recognize the form, so did he realize what was going on immediately? Phaser basically tries to kill Udius, which, as Dylan pointed out, this isn't the first time Udius has been in physical danger from monsters/creatures during a duel. Tremolo, who can see all this happening from inside his cell, tells the Skyfish to go help Phaser. Skyfish covers one of Phaser's eyes with a cloth, and that seems to snap Phaser back to his senses. At least he stopped trying to kill Udius. So, I know covering animals' eyes to make them calm down, I know that's a thing, but the Skyfish only covered one of Phaser's eyes. He has another one. I don't know what's going on with that, but moving on. Tremolo arrives in the roof. How did he get out of jail? And no one appears chasing him, so either he was released or they still don't know he's gone. Also, where was he being held, and how did he get up to the roof so quickly? It took Zuijo like half the episode to climb up the tower last episode. Anyway, Udius takes his turn, to which everyone responds, "Wait, what? That's crazy! He's continuing the duel in this situation!" To which I respond, "It's Yu-Gi-Oh! Anytime anything happens, just continue the duel. 99% of the time, it works." The in-show explanation is what Zuijo says here.
ユーディアスは一体どういうつもりで。
つもりも何もない。戦士である奴にできることはただ一つ。始めたデュエルを最後まで全うするだけ。
When did Chibaha and Ronron get there? I thought Chibaha flew off last episode, and last time we checked, Ronron was still in the forest. But anyway, Udius ends up playing a lot of new cards in this duel. When did he get all these new Transimu cards? He has a Transimu equip spell and a new Transimu Rhynac. Overwrite looks really cool though. And do you know what else looks cool? This new monster Phaser summons. Seems similar to something that would be in Muta's deck, don't you think? Plus, Dylan was right. Udius had the carded Odos in his deck, since Damu put them there before the duel. And he used them to form a new maximum. It's a Galactica maximum, which both Dylan and I realized as soon as we saw the pictures on the cards. It looks so cool. I guess this duel wanted to show off all the cool monsters because they're sure playing a lot of them. And both Udius and Phaser use two maximums in this duel. Phaser uses Abyss Croc and Abyss Poseidra, and Udius uses Magnum Overload and the Galactica maximum. And for Magnum Overload, the Sevens music every time he gets summoned is a really good touch. And I did notice, it seems Udius shortened the summon chant for Magnum Overload just slightly.
よ響け。これが黒曜石の地図よりいでし銀河の鉄道。無限の軌道を突き進み走る超魔シップマキシマム召喚超魔起動マグナムオーバーロード。響け。これが黒曜石の地図よりいでし銀河の鉄道。無限の軌道を突き進み走る超魔チップマキシマム召喚超魔起動マグナムオーバーロード。
Did you guys catch it? And speaking of Magnum Overload, how did Udius summon it twice in one duel when it got destroyed and then never returned to the deck? Maybe the writers just forgot that he already summoned it, since it wasn't in the field when the episode switched? And you might be wondering, why was everyone surprised when Udius returned Magnum Overload to his deck? After all, he's done it before. But you're all forgetting that the only one there was Yumu. The others weren't there when he did that. So that's why they're all surprised. They've never seen this before. Anyway, Phaser ends up transforming into this human-dragon hybrid form so he can continue the duel. But I do have to agree with Dylan here, I'm not the hugest fan of this design. Udius does seem happy that they're continuing the duel though. But back to Udius' new card, Transmute Rhynak Overwrite. As I mentioned, it looks really cool, but the overwrite part of its name also makes sense, since it overwrites its own name. Also, the name of its effect is Tachyonic over Rename. Tachyonic? Tachyon? If you watch Zexal, you know what I'm referring to. Cool throwback to an earlier show. There is another cool thing in this duel, though. Transmute Rhynak, you know, the card Udius has been self-identifying with this entire show, ends up being the one to defeat one of Phaser's maximums and win the duel, so that's pretty cool. It's like Udius is personally doing the attacks. We also finally get some good interaction between Udius and Zuijo.
Zuijo?
今はまだ戦う時ではないぞ。ユーディアス・ベルゲア。強大な力と引き換えに大切なものを見失ったか。弱き者。
フェイザーに勝つためには大切なものが必要だというのか。だが、それがしは大切なものを全て失ってしまった。皆を助けるためにも、今、それがしが一人戦わずして、いつ戦いというのだ。
本当に一人なのか。
そうだ。夕日もいない。ユアメもいない。優雅だって消えてしまった。皆を失ってしまったのは、それがしが不甲斐なかったせいだ。それがしと出会ってしまったせいだ。
こんな時でも。いや、こんな時だからこそ。信じるのだ。それを我に気づかせた。お前ではなかった。
At this point, we have most of Phaser and Tremolo's backstory. Tremolo is completely devoted to his brother, and it's inferred that their parents died when they were young. Phaser promised to protect Tremolo, and it's due to that he hated aliens. When they were younger, Tremolo was frightened of them, which led to Phaser hating aliens. Their family, and them as well, have space dragon blood. So can Tremolo also turn into a dragon? Something I do think is kind of funny, though. At the beginning of the episode, Phaser said he's never been more proud to be an Earthling. And at the end of the episode, he says he's never been more proud to have space dragon blood. Those things are complete opposites. He basically did a 180 this entire episode. Phaser and Tremolo were also the ones who founded the MIK. Knowing that, it kinda doesn't make sense that we didn't see them at all during the first season, but that was just for suspense, so I get it. The Odors are somehow back in the card world, despite them being back in the Sevens world when we last saw them, and having no idea how they got back. And guys, just listen to this.
ここからじゃ私たちの声はユーディアスには届かないけど。
それでもきっとあいつは感じてくれる。絶対に信じてくれるはずだ。なんてったって俺たちは仲間だからな。
そうであったな。
Did you hear it? There's a couple notes different, but other than that, the show just rickrolled us. Go back and listen to it again if you don't believe me. We have a 4-person Sorowa Dokana, which is absolutely amazing, by the way, and one of the attacks reveals a space dragon skeleton buried nearby. Transmute Rhynak attacks, and Udius wins the duel. Everyone that was carded returns to normal, including Yuhi, Yumu, and Yuga-chan. I don't fully understand how they got back to the card world from the Sevens world, or how they got turned back to normal when they were supposed to be in the Sevens world, but we're just going to move on. Although Ron was kind of wrong. The people that got turned back didn't stay as cats. However, of course, she was correct about there being a way to turn them back. Phaser apologizes to the aliens and frees the ones he had locked up. He tells Tremolo that he's sorry he worried him, and Dummu is no longer inside Udius. Zuijo also has a funny line where he says, "Hey Phaser, Tremolo, you better be careful because space dragons are Dragon Buster's favorite food, and guess what Shubaha is?" Phaser and Tremolo are, while not on Udius' side per se, they're not the enemy anymore, so that's good. Redemption. Nice wrap up to the arc. There are still a few things though. One of the questions I had after last episode was if Udius could use Elgevogiar, since Dunmu was inside him. However, we don't actually get an answer to this, as Elgevogiar is never mentioned. I think he probably could use it, since Dunmu's power is the reason Zuijo could use it. But Udius didn't even want Zuijo to use it in 58, so it makes complete sense that he would want to try it. However, I would have liked a quick 5-10 second scene of Udius thinking, well, maybe I should use it. No, I can't do that. I would like to see that just for an answer of whether or not he could actually use it. If Donmu ends up going inside Udius again, is Udius going to use it? Does he even know how to use it? Obviously Zuijo knows how, but I don't think he's ever explained to Udius, oh, by the way, this is how you use Elgevogiar. We haven't seen it, if it did happen. And considering Udius didn't even want Zuijo to use it last time, I don't think he would have asked, oh, by the way, how do I use this? So I don't even know if he knows how to use it. Anyway, there are a couple other things that don't get answered. I thought after the last episode that Phaser turning into a dragon maybe wasn't part of Zuijo's plan, but after this episode, clearly it was. How Zuijo knew that Phaser was a dragon, how he knew to bring Duty Nisha there, and why the Dudimo space caused Phaser to turn into a dragon, we may never know. Zuijo also doesn't seem surprised at all when Phaser transforms into hybrid form, so did he also know about that? And he clearly knows that Udius is about to transform the Odo card to the maximum here, so how did he know about that? Zuijo is now pulling a Kaiba from DSOD, where he just knows things he's not supposed to. How did he even find out about these things? Are we ever going to find that out? Well, if Go Rush follows the pattern of DSOD, probably not. And also, when Zuijo returned to Earth in episode 58, he said that something on Earth worried him. Was it Phaser? Or something else? Kawaii tells us that space dragons were the legendary family that reigned over the creation of the universe, so are they going to do something with that farther down the road? Because that seems rather major. Also, Rovian is still MIA. Literally, where is she? Zuijo finally came back, which is good. But we haven't seen Rovian since, what was it, episode 57? 56? I don't remember the exact episode number. We haven't seen her in like 5 episodes. And the final thing, what's going to happen next episode? And later in the show. This episode was the end of the arc, the final battle against Phaser. We are in episode 13 of season 2, and season 1 had 51 episodes. We still have a lot more episodes left in the season, so the creator is definitely going to show up and be the final villain of the show. And Dylan agrees with me. Also, I just want to bring up a point from Dylan's review, so hopefully he's okay with me using clips from his video.
The relic uncards everybody at the end of this episode. It does not card Phaser, even though Phaser lost to a maximum. So we have to imagine that that clause is now gone.
So losing to a maximum, in my opinion, is the maximum deals the final strike, not just the opponent plays a maximum at some point during the duel. Phaser and Tremolo are not carded because Phaser, the maximum, didn't deal a final strike, and Tremolo, the maximum, wasn't in maximum mode when he lost to it. So for all we know, that could still be ongoing. Like, imagine if Udius and the others are just dueling for fun, someone ends up losing to a maximum, and then the relic shows up and cards them. Imagine if that actually happened. Anyway, Yuga-chan is left again, which is on brand for his Go Rush character. But when is he going to pop up again? Dylan and I, after watching the preview for next episode, both think it's going to be very foreshadowing heavy. There appears to be a new character next episode, and what happened to Shibaha here? The characters are inspecting the relic, and I wonder when, or if, Zuijo is going to jump in and be like, yeah, that's the Go Rush U that revived me. Udius can confirm that it is in fact the Go Rush U because he's seen it before, and also Zuijo carved stuff into the relic and told Udius that he carved that, and Udius saw the carving, so he knows that it is the Go Rush U. And Yuga-chan could pop up and explain that it's the relic from his time period, and that Otis may or may not be running around the time period somewhere, but I think it's unlikely in this particular episode. Yugatron is absolutely going to show up again, but I feel like it's going to be a while. And finally, in the last shot of this episode, the camera goes into the relic and shows us what appears to be evil Urtamar. That's almost certainly going to become very important later in the show. Dylan says he thinks this means the relic may be partially sentient, and considering what happened with Damamu, I'm tempted to agree with him. And that wraps up episode 64. Please remember to like the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. Have a great day everyone, and I'll see you next time for another Yu-Gi-Oh video.